بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين وعلى سيدنا ومولانا الإمام الحجة بن الحسن المهدي المنتظر عجل الله تعالى فرجه وسهل مخرجه وجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه. In regards to the institution of marriage and family, there is an important question here, and the question is, does a young Muslim female, a young Muslim woman, need her father's permission to marry? Because this is what we know, what we hear and what we know, that a young person, a young female who is marrying for the first time, this is her first marriage, she requires the permission of her father or paternal grandfather to marry. She needs the blessings and the permission. Some people ask why. Why she needs the permission of her father or grandfather. There are three opinions in this regard, three answers. One is the classical answer of traditional scholars, old scholars, the old school of jurisprudence in the Imamiyya tradition, and also other religions, other traditions such as the Shafi'i tradition, the Maliki tradition. They argue that in fact a young girl, Muslim girl, who's marrying for the first time, and for some of them even the second time or the third time, even if she is not virgin, she definitely needs the permission and the blessings of her father or paternal grandfather, because she requires a wali. They call it wali. Wali means guardian. So, and she cannot, they add one more thing, that if her father wants to marry her to someone, she cannot say no to her father or her grandfather. So this is one opinion. The second opinion is exactly opposite to the first one. An independent, grown-up, prudent, wise, Rashida, Baligha girl, Muslim girl, even if she's marrying for the first time in her life, the very first time, she does not require the permission or the blessing of her father or grandfather. They argue because An-Nas, we have a maxim, jurisprudential maxim, law, which says, الناس مسلطون على أنفسهم وأموالهم. Every human being, every free human being, mature human being, independent, has authority and control over himself and his wealth. No one can have control over him or his wealth, over her or her wealth. She or he have full control over themselves, على أنفسهم وأموالهم, and their wealth too. Therefore, she has the say, she has the final say, not her father or her grandfather. And there is a hadith in this regard. The hadith in the book of Wasa'il al-Shi'a, Al-Hurr al-Amili, one of the narrators of traditions of the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt, in his book, in his encyclopedia, Wasa'il al-Shi'a, on the authority of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam, إذا كانت المرأة مالكة أمرها. If a lady, young lady, marrying for the first time, virgin, marrying for the first time, but she is independent, مالكة أمرها, she's independent تبيع وتشتري. She has a business. She sells, she buys. وتشهد, she testifies. وتعطي من مالها ما شاءت. She can give out of her wealth to anyone, whatever she likes, to whomever she likes. In this case, فإنها تتزوج إن شاءت بغير إذن وليها. In this case, she is allowed to marry without the permission of her guardian. In this case, the guardian being the father or the grandfather. She doesn't need. But he says, Imam al-Baqir continues to say that if she's not independent, she does not enjoy independence, she lives under the authority of a father, under his authority, he does everything for her, she doesn't do anything by herself, then in that case, فَلَا يَجُوزُ تَزْوِيجُهَا إِلَّا بِأَمْرِ وَلِيِّهَا. In that case, she cannot marry by herself unless she has the blessings and the permission of her father. A young lady came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the language of fiqh, jariyah. Jariyah in this context means, whenever you find the term jariyah, means young female. Young female. Jariyah means, otherwise if she's not young, they say imra'ah. Imra'ah. But when they say ja'at jariyatun ila Rasulillah, jariyah in this term, in this context means she's young. Young lady. She came to the Prophet. فقالت يا رسول الله إن أبي زوجني من ابن أخ له وأنا كارهة له. My father, he married me to his nephew while I don't like this marriage. I don't like it. فقال لها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. The Prophet answered her. He said to her, أجيزي ما صنع أبوك. Would you approve what your father did? Would you accept or approve? فقالت لا رغبة لي فيما صنع أبي. No, I don't want. I do not approve because I don't like the guy. I don't like my cousin. I don't want to marry him. فقال صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم اذهبي وانكحي من شئتِ. In this case, if you don't like your cousin, if you don't like this choice, the choice that the father made for you, then you may marry whomever you like. This is very important. Whomever you like, and we're going to speak about this, inshallah, in the upcoming nights, that if the parents have one opinion and the son or the daughter have a different opinion, which one comes first? Which one takes precedence? The opinion of the parents or the opinion of the girl or the boy? We will study this soon. Someone comes to Imam al-Sadiq, alayhi salatu wassalam. He says, my father, he likes me to marry a certain lady, but I like someone else. Which one should I follow? Imam answers him very brief, very right to the point, very clear. He said, تزوج من أحببت واترك ما أحب أبوك. Marry the one that you like and leave the one that your father likes. Your father is not living with her. He's not going to live with your wife. You are the one who lives with your wife. So there should be agreement, compatibility. You have to marry the one that you like, not your father. Yes, your father is respected, honorable. We love our parents. But at the end of the day, this is a lifetime commitment. Lifetime commitment. Now, why then, in this case, when I mentioned the second opinion of the scholars, what was the first opinion of the first group of scholars? That the father chooses. He's the guardian, he's the wali, and the daughter has no say. She has to follow her daughter. This is the old school. The second opinion is that she chooses for herself. And if the father chooses for her and she doesn't like, she does not have to follow her father. As we heard what the Prophet said to this young lady. He said to her, You go and marry the one that you like. Now then why some of the ahadith and the narrations say that you need the blessings of your parents, your father? Those scholars, the scholar number 2, group number 2, who say that it is her opinion, not her father's opinion, they argue that this group of ahadith that speak about the father's permission for his daughter's marriage, they consider them to be mustahab, not mandatory. It's good if there is room to accept your father's opinion, it's good to accept. But if there is no room, your father wants you to marry someone that you really do not like. You don't like that person. Your father cannot force you. When there is a clash, then your opinion is more important. Then we come to the third group of scholars. Many of them are contemporary. Among them is the late Ayatollah Al-Sayyid Abu Al-Qasim Al-Musawi Al-Khoi, the leader of the Shia Muslims worldwide, who died back in 1991 in the city of Najaf. Sayyid Khoi and many other scholars, contemporary scholars, many, they believe that we have to reconcile between the parents and the children here in this issue. Between the father's opinion, the father's blessings, the father's acceptance and approval and permission, and of course, the daughter's choice, his daughter's choice. We have to reconcile between them. So, if the daughter chooses whomever she likes, it's good that the father also approves. It's not good that she chooses someone that the father is totally against him and he has a valid point. We will come to this point later on. Some parents, they have no valid point. No valid, out of prejudice. He doesn't like this person out of prejudice. But some parents, some fathers, they have a very valid point. So she chooses for herself, but with the blessings. The best way to do it, with the blessing of her father. Someone came to Imam al-Sadiq, Imam Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salatu wassalam, and he was a father. He said, can I give my daughter in marriage to someone? Imam al-Sadiq, Imam al-Kadhim answered him, he said, If'al, you may do that, وَيَكُونُ ذَلِكَ بِرِضَاهَا. But you must obtain the consent of your daughter. You cannot just marry her to someone that she doesn't know or doesn't like, or she's not willing to marry him. فَإِنَّ لَهَا, why her consent is important? فَإِنَّ لَهَا فِي نَفْسِهَا نَصِيبًا أَوْ حَظًّا. Because she owns her decision. This is her life. This is her future. This is her marriage. So she has to accept. And no one is better than Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the best man on earth, the best young man of the age of 24 came to marry his daughter, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he did not say immediately yes. He said, let me ask my daughter Fatima. Otherwise the Prophet, أَوْلَى بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ مِنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ. The Prophet has an authority to marry you, not his daughter or his son, you, any mu'min, without our permission. If the Prophet says to me or to you, you must marry this, we should say, yes, Ya Rasulullah. We cannot say no to him. Awla, this is a verse in the Quran. An-Nabiyyu awla bil mu'mineen. He has a priority. If the Prophet says to you, I want you to go to school, you go to the battlefront, you go to the factory, you go to the farm, you stay at home, you don't stay at home, you marry, you divorce, we have to listen. Because his commands are not from him. They are from The Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though He has authority over all people, let alone His own kids, but out of adab, manners, good manners. He said, let me ask my daughter Fatima, and then I'll bring you the answer. So he went inside, and he asked Fatima alayhi salam. And the answer was what? Silence. Fatima, out of haya, she did not say, yes, Ya Rasulullah. And in that case, the Prophet said, Allahu Akbar, sukutuha ridaha. Silence of my daughter means she is consenting. Now, if the lady is not marrying for the first time, this is her second marriage, she is thayyib, she's not virgin, then even if she's young, even if she's, let's say, young, I have to be very careful. Young, just say young. Then she does not need the permission of anyone. No permission is needed. If this is her second marriage, no permission is needed. But there are certain madahib in the Sunni tradition, like the Shafi'is, the Malikis, the Hanbalis, except the Hanafis, not the Hanafis. Hanafis are like the Imamis, the Ja'faris. The Ja'faris and the Hanafis believe that the thayyib, the one who is not virgin, does not need the permission of anyone. Other madahib, they still say she needs the permission of her father. Now, why, if she's virgin, needs the permission of her father? Why? Because the argument is that even though she's experienced, she's educated, she's grown up, she's mature, many of them are very intelligent, very wise, very prudent, but in matters of marriage, they need support. They need the father's support, the family's support. Negotiating marriage is not easy. It's not easy. And because the right of divorce is in the man's control, in many cases we see men, when there is conflict with their wives, they torture their wives by not giving them divorce. They leave them in limbo. I've seen these cases nowadays. In the past and now, and it would remain for the rest of this life. Some man, he doesn't like his wife. He petitions for the American divorce. He signs the American divorce, the legal divorce. When it comes to religious divorce, he wants to punish his wife. And those people, I'm not speaking about people who drink alcohol and they dance, and people who pray, people who fast, people who go to the mosque, people who practice. But when it comes to this conflict, they lose their conscience. They lose their brain. They don't have fairness. They don't have justice. They want to revenge. They want to practice intiqam. So they leave their wives in limbo. They don't utter the religious divorce, so she cannot go and remarry another person. And you know, some of those poor wives and mothers, they stay in this state of limbo for so many years. It does not, of course, there is a solution. In Sharia, there is a solution. God is merciful. If those men are not merciful, God is merciful. There is a solution. It is the right, the jurisdiction of Al-Hakim al-Shar'i, the scholar, to divorce such lady. He has the right to divorce her. When the husband is arrogant and reluctant, neither he lives up to his marital responsibility, nor he divorces his wife, then there is a solution. Hakim al-Shar'i can divorce her, even if the husband does not accept. He has the jurisdiction and the right to do so. But many of those women do not have access to Al-Hakim al-Shar'i. They don't know about the ruling. They don't know. So she needs the blessings of her father. This is one point. Because of legal issues, she needs the blessing of her father to at least recognize this person who is going to ask for her hand. She needs the opinion of another person. The other reason is, my friends, when a person falls in love, what happens to him or her? They get blinded. This is what Imam Ali alayhi salam says. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, when a person loves something, he's going to be blinded. He sees nothing except that person or that thing or that object that he loves. People come to him with experience, people who are kind, people who are wise. They tell him this is not good, this is dangerous. This subject, this object, this person, this house, this business are not good. He says no. Because he's in a romantic sandstorm, in a romantic storm. Do you see when there is a storm, we can't see, zero visibility. This is exactly when someone falls in love with others. So they don't understand the consequences. They don't. They are not rational. They become very emotional. But the father is not in love, of course. The father is not in love with this person. He's an outsider. He can see from outside. He can see the danger. He can see things that his daughter or even his son are not seeing. And therefore we need to have a safe marriage, safe future, safe family. We need the consultation and the advice and the blessings of our parents. We really need that one. My friends, even when we do little things in life, little things, small things, you need to consult. Small things, even if you buy something very small and you can refund it, it's always good to consult. Consult someone who has experience. Always consult, let alone the matter of marriage, which is very fundamental in our life. Very fundamental. So she needs, though she is educated and she is experienced, but still in this marriage, in this matter, she needs a second opinion. And who's better than a father, especially if the father is also wise and educated and he's open-minded. So she needs his opinion. Now, there are, of course, exceptions. There are exceptions that the girl does not need the permission of her father. Exception number one, if the father has isolated himself, abandoned his family completely. There are some parents, they abandoned. He got a second wife. He went to another country or in the same country and he married a second wife. And he abandoned his first family, completely abandoned them, knows nothing about them. Neither he sustained them financially, nor emotionally, no contact. And I've seen this case in many families. The father, he leaves the first family, he goes and lives in another country, and he has nothing to do with his first family and his kids. He has even no news about them. In this case, she doesn't need the permission of a father who deserted his family, abandoned his family. Why should she ask his permission? He's not involved in her life. This is number one. Number two, if the father is mentally compromised, let's say, mentally challenged. This is a polite way of saying majnoon, mentally challenged. If he's mentally challenged, of course, in this case, there's no point in going and soliciting his opinion. Someone who's really mentally challenged or very naive, very, very naive. No point in asking for his opinion. This is second. Third, this is important, and this is mentioned in the Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah. فَلَا تَعْضُلُوهُنَّ أَن يَنْكِحْنَ أَزْوَاجَهُنَّ. If the father is rejecting, for instance, a father who has a daughter, and someone came asking for the hand of his daughter, that person is a sound person. He has good character. The Prophet says two things are essential requirements: deen, faith, true iman, true faith, and good akhlaq. Deen, faith, and manners. And the father still rejects, though this person has good faith, genuine faith, and he has good manners. But the father rejects on the grounds of what? Racism. Because he's not from my race. He's not from my country. He's not from my color. He's from a different nationality. Many parents, they do this. Here in America, our kids, the young kids, they don't have the issue of nationalities because they are all American. They are all born and raised in this country. But their parents, they still have this cultural baggage. He's Indian, he's Pakistani, he's East African, Khoja, he's Iranian, he's Afghan, he's Arab, he's Lebanon, he's white, he's dark, he's brown, they have these issues. So if his reason, the father's reason, is based on racism, then his father's opinion should not be counted, and she can marry that person. Or his rejection is based on religious discrimination. Religious discrimination. Because this person is Shia Muslim, followers of Ahlul Bayt, the father doesn't like him. I've seen incidents when a father tells his daughter that I will give you in marriage to a Jew or a Christian, but not a Shia. I've seen this in this country, here in Orange County. I'm not speaking about Kandahar, I'm speaking about Orange County, California. He says to his daughter, no, you may marry a Jew or a Christian, but not a Shia. So in this case, she can marry without her father's consent. Or sometimes he has a personal issue with this guy, personal issue, and his reasons are not valid. Or he has a personal issue with his parents. Sometimes the guy is okay, but he has some janjal 40 years ago, some conflict, da'wah, and arke, I say it in all languages, with his father 40 years ago. 40 years ago they had a problem. Now the son is coming asking for his daughter's hand. He says, no, because I hate your father. Again, this is invalid reason. This is prejudice, invalid, because the guy is good. What does he have to do with his father? You are not giving your daughter to his father. You are giving your daughter to him. So tribal issues. Tribal issues, they work in Arab countries because he's not from my family, my tribe. He belongs to a different qabila or a tribe. I'm not giving my daughter to him. This is again racism and a prejudice and bias. In this case, if these are the father's reasons for rejecting this boy, this young man, then the law of adl applies. Al-adl. فَلَا تَعْضُلُوهُنَّ. Al-adl means the father preventing his daughter from marrying a qualified person. Qualified person. He's preventing her, therefore he has no wilaya, no guardianship. His guardianship is dropped. She can bypass her father's guardianship or consent or blessings and she can marry this person بالعافية هنيئا مريئا. Inshallah, she enjoys this marriage, and you all enjoy your marital life. You enjoy your kids, your husbands, your wives, your families, and inshallah we see our young generation, especially the young generation, marrying on good basis, inshallah, ethical, Islamic and moral basis. Allahumma aghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat wal muslimina wal muslimat al ahya'i minhum wal amwat, tabi' Allahumma baynana wa baynahum bil khayrat, innaka mujibud da'awat, innaka ghafirul khati'at, innaka mahis sayyi'at وجاعلها حسنات إنك على كل شيء قدير. وعجل اللهم في فرج سيدنا ومولانا وإمامنا صاحب العصر والزمان، وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات ثواب الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.